Hello everyone! I'm trying to do new things with the channel and with the angles, so I'm trying to find which angle is best for me to actually chat here with you. You will probably see differences between some videos and the others because I am trying to find a comfortable shoot that I feel more represented with. So today, with this kind of upper angle, we are going to discuss about the books of 2019 in a different way I was planning to, or that I did in the Spanish sort of video. This is the last video related to summarizing what I did in 2019. Not summarizing, but analyzing what I actually did. And this is a video about all the things that I've learned regarding reading in 2019 that is going to take us to my favorite books of the year. I did this in the Spanish video in a way of kind of normal favorite books of 2019 sort of video, but I wanted something different from this one in particular. If you don't know who I am, my name is Clara and I'm the owner of this channel, The Ink Path. I normally talk about books here in English and in Spanish, but I have set all the videos in playlists, so you can choose which language to actually listen to see the videos in. So this is an English one. Of course, I'll link down below all the information about my wish list if you want to see what I'm after, what else, the social media I use, things like that, so you can contact me. But having said that, we're going to start the video. The majority of the books I'm going to mention here in this kind of list of discoveries of 2019 regarding my reading taste and my reading intuition, the majority of these books are not reviewed yet in the channel, and I hope that in the following months or in the following weeks I'm able to either combine them in a kind of theme related review video or do individual reviews. However, you will probably have that soon. So we are going to start with the importance of following friends' recommendations, and for that one I want to chat a little bit about a Spanish book that I have been let, that I borrowed from a friend a couple of years ago, but I couldn't actually have the time to sit down and read it, and that's Desayuno Júpiter by Andrea Tomé, which is a kind of contemporary / magical realism in some parts, a story about two girls that meet because of a common person that they have to deal with, and that they develop kind of romantic feelings for each other, these two girls, and they also have to kind of discover what the person that they have in common past was, the kind of hiding secrets that this person hold, and what happened to her when she was younger. This book, as I said, is a recommendation by a friend called Christine, who is the owner of the Ink Path. Oh, no, not the Ink Path, sorry, of the blog Un Diván en el Salón, where she deals with psychological issues and talks about psychology with books and TV series. And she recommended me this book when we started being closer friends, and I actually met the author, and because the author is friends of her, and we went for having lunch together, and we had a really nice time. And when we met the author and we had lunch with her, she just released this book, but I didn't have the chance to actually sit down and read it until now. And contemporary is not a genre that I actually dip myself very often into. However, I have the feeling that because I thought I was not going to enjoy contemporary, I started putting it off continuously because there were other books that interested me. This book showed me that sometimes going out of your comfort zone, following person advice, a person that you actually admire and care for, is freeing. It's us to think outside the box in a way. Allows you to expand your taste in reading. The second lesson I've learned from 2019 regarding my reading taste and books is that I shouldn't be scared of classics. I know that's a little bit strange for me to say because I've read classics before. I have bring you reviews and specials analyzing certain classics under my point of view, doing a little bit of a kind of featured videos about, for example, Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. You know that I love classics, that I love Jane Austen, so it's not very common for me to say that I shouldn't be scared of classics. However, in 2019, I wanted to read Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. And something very strange happened. I have tried to read Dracula, which also read in 2000. Well, I listened to Dracula in 2019, but I have tried to read that book before. However, Bram Stoker's story, even though I love the films and even though I love the myth of the vampire, was tricky and too dense for me to read. So I thought that maybe because Frankenstein and Dracula, even though they are very different, they are normally linked somehow in terms of the monsters of the horror genre, the classical horror genre. I thought that if I wanted to read Frankenstein, I was going to focus or to face the same complication as when I read Dracula. So I decided to challenge myself and read both. This video, or this part of the video, is going to be centered only around Frankenstein, because Frankenstein showed me that maybe if some classics are too daunting for me to approach, because I've read similar classics that give me a little bit of a nightmare, I could actually always approach it from a different angle. So what I did was to read the book, the physical book that I have, but also listen to it in a dramatization or in an audiobook, as it was the case. Combining both helped me to not only read it quicker, but understand more of the plot, because I was listening to someone doing the dramatization of each character or the inflection in the voice that let me understand the intention of the person who was speaking. And I find that experience very, very helpful, to the point that that's, for example, something I'm doing at the moment with his Dark Materials, which I have on my Kindle, but I also borrowed the audiobook from my library. So I'm combining reading the text while listening to the voices, especially in this last book when I have a full cast edition of the audiobook. In a similar vein, the third, in a similar approach, the next lesson that I have learned, it's to read in different formats. I am a book reader, a physical book reader, as you can tell from all the books that I have there. But also, you cannot see it, but I have two more bookcases. I have two more bookcases full to the top, like completely overwhelmed and flooded by books. I even have a stack of books on the mirror too, so I have tons of physical books. However, because my PhD demands me to read so much, to not only books or specific books about the matter that I am studying, but also articles that are normally in English too and are complicated, and then I'm normally very tired afterwards after all this work, and my brain doesn't want to read anymore, even if I feel the need of reading for fun. However, reading in different formats as audiobooks that I mentioned before, but also on Kindle, which is very a discovery for me because I have a Kindle for almost 10 years now and I haven't used it that much. However, these past 2 years is when I use it the most or more often. So changing from one format, the physical book, to an audiobook, for example, just to relax, to unwind, it's been quite experience. Also through the audiobooks that I borrow from the library. I'm discovering books that I don't normally aim for, or if I would aim for, if I want to buy them. If I want to buy them here in Spain, I still have to wait until the original text arrives here as a book in English, or even more, I have to wait even more if the Spanish publisher houses decide to invest in this book and translate it and work for a Spanish edition. So I have discovered, for example, the Lunar Chronicles that is actually almost finished in Spanish. Here it's almost published completely in Spanish, but I actually never aim for the sci-fi kind of retellings. However, my library, the audiobooks were kind of fun and fast and different from me to actually read something. I also loved the Circe by Madeline Miller edition that I listened to, was also from the library. But in my case, Circe is also published here, and the problem was that even though I love the edition that they prepared for the Spanish one, it's very heavy, and as a person with disability, sometimes lifting books that are quite chunky is uncomfortable for me, and especially if I'm going to read outside, if I'm not going to be at home. So reading or listening to Circe in Circe and in English, in this case, read by Perdita Wicks, who I haven't heard of before, was actually a relief because I was expecting, or I was willing to read it because I heard so many good things and I love Greek mythology, and actually that book became one of my favorites of the year too. What else? In a very kind of similar tone, I loved how I went not only from Frankenstein to Dracula, but I started dipping into horror using the radio dramatization thing. Now, I think it's from 10 years ago to now, radio dramatization is a format that is more popular here in Spain. So I have discovered programs of radio that deal with this kind of genre and explore and adapt certain kind of mystery and horror novels to this almost theater format. And I have found a couple of programs that I adored, and I decided to listen to this specific audiobook thing or similar to audiobook format at night, which is not very which is great and horrible at the same time, because you switch off the lights, you turn out the kind of audio dramatization of, I don't know, for example, Rebecca or The Turning of the Screw, which was one of my favorite books that I've read through this radio dramatization, but it was scary as hell. So you have the best and the worst at the same time. And I adore this kind of jumping into new genres that I don't normally go for. Well, I think that's all I wanted to tell you today. Which are your favorite books of 2019? They don't have to be 2019 releases. They just have to be books that you read in 2019. Did you learn something from that experiences, or something that may help you out in your future reading achievements or reading perspectives in terms of enjoyment or learning? I hope you enjoyed this video and you come back next week. As I said before, I leave all my social media down below if you want to continue the conversation. See you very soon. Goodbye.